live, hopefully here in a second as I'm updating. There we go. Welcome, welcome, one and all. I hope you all have been enjoying this series. I believe, and I cannot confirm, I think we are into the episode, and let me just actually check because I'm curious. I think we are currently episode 80 of the Rejected Potential. Sorry, 76 of Rejected Potential. After 2 years of running this campaign, since 2019 when we first started in May, given of course it started up right after Amateur Hour, this party embarked on a great journey, having started with nothing, expecting to die by level 5. Many have come and many have gone as time has gone on. We met many of friends, made many of enemies. Players have come and gone overall. We come to the final session of Rejected Potential. I will say that after this we will be doing a quick break as well as following up with an epilogue and me doing a live reading of what I actually expected the end of the campaign to be like and allowing the players to react to it. I want to give a special thanks to those who have come and gone from this campaign, being Captain Ricard and Dulkin being the two major ones that I remember. And all those others who I can't recall off the top of my head. You guys were amazing for joining these campaigns. You guys made a huge input on the world, as well as Tren himself with Kips. We never forget Kips. Thank you all. And through this, I want to let you all know that yes, we will be taking a 1-week break after the Rejected Potential final session today to get ready for the next campaign, and we will find out who will be joining at that point. But without any further delay, let us begin the last session of Rejected Potential. Last time we left off, the party squared off with an unremarkable Tenem, a man who seemed almost unlike himself compared to his usual jolly and even more speaking and less stoic self. Having barely held on to this fight throughout the fist fight, Kurgan and Tenem would go punch for punch, blow for blow, left and right for the entirety of the session, while Zarius managed to confuse them, causing them to beat each other rather than him. Scoring a few good blows on Tikva, who would return them just in kind. Freya almost getting herself wiped out, and almost wiping out the entirety of this country with her new drawn card. And Anton managing to continue to offer his full support through the session, kind of staying to the back and a little more on the quieter side of things. Meanwhile, while the party was fighting, both the High Queen and the High King begin to show up to Dragon's Gate, as the High King was riding in off in the distance, carrying something on his back. And the High Queen continued to fight and attack Cyrus, as well as his war pigs, as we are calling them. His anti-magic army. Managing to hold her off almost single-handedly by himself at this point. While down below on the ground amongst the mortals, the dwarves of Dragon's Gate, alongside with the gnolls, were holding off the armies of Normak, the god of the Forge, as well as the Tiefling invasion, being led by someone that we do not know. A mysterious foe has entered this place as well. We have not yet seen him either. Some would say he may be a demigod that has arrived to watch the carnage in play. As we come back, the sun is just now beginning to set. The battlefield has quieted down, the city in ruins and ablaze. Many a body stacked up as the screams of one another can be heard. Some far off in the distance, the clangs of swords, as well as drinks and mugs being had, can still be heard, but the battle has gone quiet currently. The party finds themselves standing at the entrance, as well as exit to the castle and the main throne room. Tenem's lifeless body laying there, completely nude, minus his small cloth, and all but Zarius still standing from the enemy party. As they took their weapons and gear, re-armored themselves, and prepared for another fight, they find themselves staring out at an empty battlefield of nothing but death, blood, and pain. All has gone quiet, but before we get to the main party, let's catch you up on what Normac, Malthor, and Cyrus have all been up to. Starting first with Normac and Malthor. As Normac arrived in the city amidst the battle on his little blimp, he managed to get to the center of one of the main cleric districts, where the gods of ability are honored. Seeing the least amount of fighting, he managed to set down with his few giants that served him, a few cyclops here and there, some crystal dragonborn, and as many other races many of the world hasn't seen in the millennia. They established a very strong perimeter, creating and putting up tents. They began offering assistance to all sides, grabbing people in to offer medical care, assisting all, not participating in the fight, but rather enforcing a safe zone for both innocent civilians as well as poor soldiers that have been caught in the middle of this massive war. Normac would comment, of course, to Malthor that this is the largest war in ages, even larger than some would say than the battle at the Isle of Man for the 100-to-1 march against the Time Fornicators. Malthor, having been charged with holding the line and ensuring that no bandits, no troops, no villains, let's call them, managed to arrive into this center circle and break this established medical, peaceful, and neutral land. As Malthor, as you are standing watch, and Normac is continuing to tend and offer his ability, a strange man appears out of nowhere. I think the stream's still up. I'm not sure. One sec. I'm not done monologuing. I'm just making sure. Okay, stream is up.
You're fine. I'm just making sure I have alert feed.
It's working on my end. Sorry, I was getting messages that the stream wasn't working. I can see it. Yes. So as Malthor, as you're standing at the circle, a strange man in very simple clothing, wearing nothing but a yellow toga, that seems semi-tattered, in fact, even patched up here and there. Shaved head, very almost translucent skin, seems to be walking towards you. No weapons, no signs of battle. You recognize this man as an Air Genasi. He seems very ancient from what you can tell, but yet still looks very young as the man continues to walk up to you without any sense of hostility. What would you like to do?
I'm going to not hostile, but keep my shield up, a hand ready with my sword at the ready, just because we are in the middle of a war zone. There could be a stray arrow or someone could be charging in to take the guy out. If he's peaceful, I'm not going to show any hostility towards him, but ask him, you need help? Simple and straight.
He just looks at you and bows his head and goes, "My name is Flute, the famous lute player." And he smiles as he grabs out a strange, almost bamboo-like straw, and kind of almost looking like it has little holes in it as he kind of starts to play a light tune as he walks kind of past your line, ignoring you almost completely. You get no sense of hostility towards you. I will say he is slightly levitating off the ground, which is pretty common amongst Air Genasi.
I'm gonna keep an eye on him.
Looking for Zaya.
Okay, I will keep that in mind while this is going on. Okay.
Malthor's not gonna stop him, but he is gonna keep an eye on him and try and split his attention using the alert feat to make sure that no one can sneak up on him.
Okay. Yeah.
Or the line, so he's set.
Your men continue, holding the line. On occasion, you hear them pushing people back as the occasional, even undead or zombie appears. They cut them down pretty comfortably.
Also, I'll be switching from regular sight to true sight, keeping that up for the entire time.
Okay. As he walks past, he kind of just goes in the tent and begins working and helping Normac out, assisting here and there. Malthor, I want you to give me a perception check with advantage.
Alright. Grab my dice. At least I made sure perception wasn't crap. 17 total, and this is... Okay, 17 total.
Okay. You see as this man walks over to Normac and is speaking with him rather kindly and calmly, and then as Normac looks, suddenly you see a sense of fear in Normac's eyes. I'm gonna give you a chance to roll initiative. This won't be a combat round given, but I want to give you a second to roll your initiative.
Thank God for the +8 to initiative.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 27.
Immediately, you see as this man begins to raise his hand up in what you recognize as a common attack amongst monks. As he goes to slam it down on Normac, you go charging in, and just as soon as the man goes to cut, you realize would have cut Normac almost down the center. You manage to lop his head off just as quickly, saving Normac in an immediate attack. As you see the body fall to the ground and dissipate completely.
I guess they don't allow anyone else to pass, period.
Okay.
At least not if they're not bleeding.
Okay.
And I go relay that, and I tell them, keep an eye out for any air genasi. Don't let them pass.
Alright.
Especially if they're fucking floating.
They all float, mate. But...
And if they have a red balloon, they are definitely not allowed past.
Okay. Alright, thank you. And that is where we will end Balthor's portion for right now. Cyrus. For days, you've been holding off this woman almost by yourself while your soldiers have done all they can to hold off her followers, managing to cut down, in fact, even 2 of her daughters in combat after a few of your strophe managed to corner them and cut them down. Gaul even appeared to assist you at one point, having shown up beside you when things started to look dire as the High Queen's forces started to get closer and closer to you. Although for you it wasn't very dangerous, for the rest of your troops would have been a bit more of a problem. Gaul would have spent his time assisting you with a strange, almost covering across his head that you immediately recognize he seems to have some sort of feathers coming around his neck. You also you sense immediately that this man is covered in divine magic of his own.
Okay.
As you held this woman off for days on end, sensing continuously where that Tikva was close at hand. Most of the reason why it spurred you to action even is because of the fact that you were able to see that that High Queen would have cut her down the first chance she got. You continued to following a tactical retreat, knowing full well you could not fight this woman's army full on and wanting to keep your troops semi-alive, just for the emergency, eventually falling back to Dragon's Gate where you knew the final battle was continuing. As you got within about 40 miles of the city, you immediately sensed that Zaya's presence in one of the towers of the castle. You recognized only the magic just faintly, as it was barely able to expand out. It seemed that some sort of anti-magic had been set up around her, and you could sense that something was keeping her there. You also began to sense that the High King was coming, with someone even more dangerous, as you recognized Zilpip's arcane presence beside him, coming from the same direction towards Dragon's Gate. It was around this time you also recognized that the magic from Tikva and the rest of the party had finally arrived at Dragon's Gate's castle, and that after hearing from Anton, who I imagine would have cast Sending as soon as the chance got within range, that they were fighting Tenem. You continue to fall back, not being able to feint away from this High Queen herself, as any chance of a full-on retreat would be immediately attacked in full throttle and would have caused more damage for you as well as those who followed you at the time. As the Rakshasa, although who served you, had managed to integrate themselves into her army, were only able to do so much against her more mortal followers. The High Queen herself was still an even match, even for you. As you fell back and continued, you could see the High King coming from the horizon as you managed to finally stop the invading army at the walls of Dragon's Gate, assisting in both the attack and defense of the walls as the Tieflings have managed to take it. You can sense that both the High King and the High Queen are currently in their mortal forms, as they can't seem, as they get closer to the city, to keep their divine position. It seems something is causing massive blocking of divine magic in this area. What would you like to do, Cyrus?
I know that for what he wants to do, they have to be very close, correct?
Yeah, I believe it's within 100 feet of him.
Okay. He would continue trying to basically draw the forces together to almost end up trying to get the High King and the High Queen to also fight each other while he is potentially fighting them as well.
Okay. I will state that as you fall back more towards the center of the city, drawing in the High Queen, who still has not seemed to become aware of her ex-husband, as we'll call it, her ex-captor, probably a better word for it here. She doesn't seem to notice that the High King is getting any closer, and hasn't seen at all, but you are starting to sense more and more Zilpip's magic getting closer and closer. Give me a perception check, would you?
Yes.
With advantage, because of your arcane
Okay.
ability. Jesus criminy.
Well, that's first roll.
Yeah, I don't think you
31.
have to roll a second time. I was like, you get a 32. You see everything in the world. You understand everything. But you see that on the High King's back is the gnome himself in a cage, being pulled as the High King is holding one of the 3 god-killing weapons on his hand, or on his hip, the spear itself.
Mm-hmm. The one that he knew about.
Mm-hmm. And as he comes in further, comes closer and closer, you see bodies flying everywhere as you're holding the High Queen. At this point, avoiding getting in direct contact, close quarter fight with the High Queen herself, knowing that full well that you'll be outmatched in that situation. Soldiers continue to assist, but there's only so much they can do. We'll come back to you in a moment.
Okay.
For the rest of the party, as you lot are watching this, as you see Cyrus himself, in fact, land on the ground, Tikva immediately recognizing his magic, and the rest of the party who have been around this entire time seeing him, you see as the High King drops to the ground. The High Queen is now trying desperately to engage Cyrus in single combat as he continues to push more and more space between them. The High King drops and the fight begins between the 3. Yes, that is... I'm remembering. Don't worry, Troy. I
Just
got
double
you.
checking.
Yep. That actually was about to send you that. Cyrus and Anton, given your ability, you both notice something suddenly. I'll send that to you. As you watch, as the entire party standing at the entrance to this gate, as well as Cyrus, and even Malthor, who can barely see at this rate into this area, as he sees Cyrus land and is fighting the High Queen and the High King. As the High King just stops and steps back calmly, pulling open this iron cage, you see a long white-haired gnome with 2 colored eyes, short and giving off an extreme arcane. As you just look upon in horror, as he grabs the gnome out of the cage, grabbing him around the neck and squeezing as you watch the neck snap with a disgustingly crunchy sound blazing out to the rest of the city. And you see the head of what is Zilpip get torn from his shoulders and the body thrown to the ground as the High King begins to glow a strange blue color. For those who have magical capabilities, meaning you're not just purely a fighter or a barbarian, you immediately sense the High King absorbing Zilpip's magic. taking in his own ability. Yes?
Could Freya feasibly hold up Northrend and try and get some of that magic away from him?
No, not in this case. Northrend doesn't seem to respond to the action. It
Okay.
seems she absorbs magic from items, not from people.
I was just gonna see if she'd absorbed the magic that was then in the air that he was taking in.
Nope. But as you watch as he does this, he begins casting spells, causing extreme tremors on the ground as armies fall into deep holes, and then it begins charging at both Cyrus and the High Queen, fighting them both off equally. But before we get to that portion, and I know someone wants to say something, Anton, since you go running off to go find Zaya, I want to know what the rest of the party, are you going to follow as Anton turns and heads towards one of the larger towers?
I will
Yeah.
follow Anton.
Okay.
Freya's following as close as she can,
got-
but she's
I
gonna
got
also
orders.
try.
Here we go.
Okay. Yes, Freya?
She's also, as they're running, gonna try and feed the weapon of certain death to Northrend.
Okay. The weapon does disappear. However, Northrend doesn't seem any different currently. It seems to go almost absolutely silent for once. Since it awoke. As you lot begin
Something's
running up
wrong.
the tower at blazing speed, as Anton seems almost in a rush at this point, you come to a door. A simple wooden door of black wood. Seems to have a strange marking of a crown kind of embezzled onto it, and a bronze handle. This door seems rather new for the castle itself, given those, I believe Tikva has visited this place before at one point. And yes. So, the question is, what's the marching order and who opens the door?
Freya will be up in front, because if
No.
it's a trap,
If anything should
Then-
be made. Being the tankier of the
it
two
should
of
be.
us.
It should be one of us too.
I'll do it.
Although, what is?
Okay.
I got it.
Okay, you'll go first. Freya will be behind you, and you'll open the door. And then behind us, I'm guessing would be immediately Anton, then
Yeah.
Tikva,
yeah,
then.
I'm technically.
the
I
cleric.
still have my wings. I'm pretty sure, so
Yes.
I'd be flying slightly above, but yeah, in the back, I'd imagine.
Well, you are in a tower, so you're not
And
able
then
to
behind.
fly at this point.
Oh, it's too low.
It's
okay,
too,
yeah.
it's too narrow and too low.
Then
for
I'll
you.
walk.
And I'm guessing our friendly neighborhood cleric is right behind us.
Yes. Roan is still downstairs. He's more in shock than anything right now watching this.
Did we
going on.
leave Zarius at the?
Yeah, Zarius is down there, but to be fair, he's being guarded by Galsair and
Yeah.
Grr.
yeah,
Fair
or-
enough.
yeah.
To-
And Zarius has
With-
no
probably
spell
with-
slots left, so he's screwed either way. He can't
Probably
do
with
anything.
orders to torture him if he tries anything.
That's fair.
Yeah. To clarify,
Yes.
with the magic items we got last play, we definitely didn't have any time to attune to them, correct?
I will allow full attunement to all items that you guys gained.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um,
Then I might do
I was
that.
about to say, because if not, I might be screwed.
No, yeah, that's fine. And I'm just gonna say the only thing that hasn't happened yet is Anton has not sealed away the wand of Orcus, because that would take longer. As Kurgan, as you go to open the door opens, and inside you see three things, three people. But for the room itself, a simple tower with looks to be blocked off windows with iron bars and padding around them. Anti-magic runes drawn all around this room that you recognize immediately, Kurgan, from your background as a rune knight. These are very high quality to the level that you don't know many runesmiths who could manage to do something like this. You see a gnome, an older gnome, standing there. Give me a moment to pull up his description, because I actually forgot what he looked like, because it's been so fucking long. Nope, wrong one. Let me grab the right one. There we are. So, both with a strange kind of almost brown hair, seeing now that there are two, in fact, one standing behind the other, both holding a cane, and staring at you. Tikva, and I believe, actually, I think it's only Tikva, in fact, recognizes these two as Zelm and Melz, the two time gnomes. Beside,
Yeah.
on the other side of the middle person, you see Ogum himself, standing upright, looking almost 30 years younger, which still makes him look ancient by everyone else's comparison. As the wrinkles are still there, just standing more upright, his arms still just as large, his body still just as fit, but this
Leans
time wearing glasses.
Remember your fucking deal. Don't say jack shit to him.
And in between them, you see Zaya laying there in a bridal outfit, or a bridal's gown, with a High King symbol on an amulet around her neck. She doesn't seem to be able to speak, move, but her eyes do flicker as she looks longingly at the rest of the party. And as you begin to walk in, Ogum just kind of smiles at you lot with a big grin on his face as his eyes, you can finally see them, as before his eyes were so sunken into his head you could not, you never even were able to recognize what his eye color was. With these bright purple eyes, he looks on at the party and just waits.
Okay.
Zaya still has the shackles.
Yes.
Dimensional shackles.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is one of the first things Anton recognizes, that there are shackles. They are just different looking. They are smaller and seem to be of a purple metal.
Leave the shackles to me.
Would you like?
I will. I'm gonna stand off to the side and await orders. My skill set's not the most useful here. There's a couple things I can do, but not a lot.
Freya is going to walk up and stop about 15 feet away and wait for any orders from the two brains of this.
As Anton
And
sees
say-
this, I'll go ahead.
Go ahead, Anton.
He's just gonna use the message cantrip to message Kurgan and Freya. Kind of as the door's opening. We need to deal with the runes and free Zaya. We'll just send that to both.
My response is have Kurgan deal with the runes. I might be able to deal with the shackles with Northrend.
With my knowledge on runes DM, what are the odds I can actually do something about them?
I mean, you've never seen anti-magic runes done before. It would take someone who's, knows the art to an extreme. Theoretically, you could break. All you need to do is disrupt the rune itself, in some way or another. So, using your own ability, you could put a rune on top of it to basically disable both.
Do I know where the most integral rune of the whole set is? Can I see which one isn't the connector?
Give me an Arcana or a Perception check.
I'm definitely better at perception.
Okay.
That is a 23.
The largest of the runes seem to be right under Zaya's feet, where she is standing.
Okay, then I'll go for the runes closest to that one.
Okay.
Because if I get the ones connecting to it, it should still break the circuit.
Oh, that means you have to move closer to Zelm, Melz, and Ogum.
And yeah, I guess I will. The others are gonna have to get them away while I deal with that.
All right. As you're getting ready to move forward, Tikva, is there anything you'd like to do?
Okay, so does the amulet on her neck with the High King symbol, does that have any arcane property to it that I can discern from?
Give me an Arcana check.
Alright. Will do. Let's see if Avery hates me today, huh?
It's fair.
14, yep. Alright,
not
physical
bad.
dice time.
It does seem to give off a palpable magic coming off of it. You don't recognize what spell this is, but it's pretty clear that it has to be something that's silenced and is keeping her stationary.
Okay. So Anton set up that telepathic link, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
I will
before.
inform him through the link about
Oh, yeah, I
the
forgot about
potential of
Yeah.
her being paralyzed with that amulet and potentially also it silencing her, having other effects.
I will say, given this and the amount of magic that Cyrus has, he would have heard this as well. It would have been intercepted by him in the situation.
Okay, well then, yeah, if he hears, even better. But yeah, that's what she just is informing people of that. And then these beloved people here with us today, their magic, do they seem more strong than since I last saw them? Do they seem weaker? Or
Zelm
is
and
it about
Mel's,
Ogum's
same?
definitely stronger.
Zelm and Mel's have always had magic on par with Zilpip. In fact, some would argue they were more powerful because they didn't focus on science as much. I mean, they were the original time wizards. I will also mention it's at this point you do recognize that both of them have divine magic coming off of them. Ogum, he's not magically stronger, but he looks a lot more physically ripped than he was last time you saw him.
Got it. Yeah.
And he does
I-
have a giant scabbard, as you start to notice it, that's slowly appearing on his back.
And they're definitely, like, upon us entering, they definitely look like they're gonna turn hostile.
No, you don't know. You don't know
No.
any of these people to know them well enough to assume that. You can give me an
Okay.
insight check if you'd like.
Sure, I'll do an insight check. Before I don't want to do something unless I know for sure they're gonna, I don't know, attack us, murderize us. Alright.
Myrtle.
Murderize us.
Yeah,
That's
Anton
not
will
bad.
also-
What's that total? That
He
is
has no
25 total for insight.
Anton, they seem harmless. You said, what'd you get to?
They are so harmless for
25 total.
Okay. They don't seem outright hostile. Like, they do not seem like they're preparing for battle. This is not an attack.
Okay. I'll also make note of that through the
passive
link, I
17?
guess.
Get me
Well-
that too.
This
Yes.
is a
Alright.
interesting situation. Can I ask what's going on here? And she has her hand kind of resting on the hilt of the now newly attuned vorpal rapier acquired.
Zelm and Mel stay quiet.
Frey's gonna approach her.
As they back up to the other side of the room, or the back of the room, kind of backing away from Zaya. Not hostily, just slowly, just to avoid any hostility. They aren't drawing any weapons, nor are they chanting anything.
I guess
Frey is gonna move up and
pretend-
start working on the cuffs with Tinker's tools.
As you do, Ogum walks forward, blocking your path, taking a sword that you realize as he pulls it off his back, made of out of the scabbard, it comes out with this strange purple metal, and slams it onto the ground, causing the entire tower to shake violently. For those outside of the tower, they actually feel the entirety of the ground tremble slightly from this. This is a massive blade of some sort. Imagine,
Doing
for
this for a
those
friend.
wondering, this is a great sword, similar to the size of the sword from Berserk, which I forget the name of off the top of my head.
Dragon Slayer.
Dragon Slayer, thank you. And on it, in Dwarvish, for those who read it,
Yep.
reads, "The Blade of Zarius,"
Oh boy. Okay.
in runes. Ancient-looking Dwarvish runes. And Ogum just
I don't
stands
read
in
that.
front of all of you, turning to Kurgan first, and smiles a big smile and says, "What, pray tell, do my children offer me this day?"
As the elder, I would like you to state what you wish. To please move, so that we can handle our business in a kind and gentle manner.
Give me a persuasion check.
Dang.
My persuasion sucks. Don't expect anything out of this.
wish I had a bard that could give you
Actually-
inspiration.
16. I actually rolled well. That's
Dang.
actually alright.
Decent.
Well, I have a +1. That's really good for what I.
That's
No, you did
really
not.
decent.
You did not take
Well,
that.
That's what I thought.
I would have healed a little because of the ring now.
Yes, it does every 10 minutes, and it's
How long has it
Dang.
been?
it's been about 20
been
minutes
at least-
walking up that tower.
Okay, then I'm
So
basically up. That's awesome.
Ogum just kind of looks at you for a second, goes, nothing, just enjoying the fight. All this magic has made me young once more, as he smiles. And he looks at you and goes, come see me once this is done. If you survive, I have a gift for you. And he, with a smile where all his teeth are finally back, or at least you think those are his teeth, at least. You hope those are his personal teeth. But a full set of teeth
Freya hopes
nonetheless.
it's not.
He just kind of walks up to Freya, kind of moves her aside, barely, kind of just with a light push.
Gently,
putting
and
the
she'll let him push her back.
Putting the sword back on his back, he heads down the tower. He's wearing nothing other than an apron, for those wondering. That
Well, good for him. If he can rock it.
He takes after
The
the
breeze is
ball.
nice this time of year.
It appears that much of his clothes probably tore off when he suddenly was enlarged, and heads down peacefully.
Alright, well, if he leaves
The
with my
runes
amazing
immediately
12
deactivate.
Oh, okay, that works.
Perfect.
Ah.
Freya's instead going to take and try and have Northrend eat the cuffs.
Nothing happens.
I'm gonna regret that.
Nothing happens.
Okay, then back to the first idea of tinkering with them and trying to pop the lock.
Okay.
Anton will cast Dispel Magic on the cuffs.
Oh, what level?
Third.
Give me a
Which
roll.
Hey.
means I'll have to roll for it.
Yep. Not many spells left in these days that are that low.
Hmm.
You got this.
Nope, probably not, but maybe.
Fuck.
The shackles do break
Huh.
Nice.
and fall to the ground. However, Zaya still doesn't move.
It's the
And Zelm
amulet.
seems-
I'm gonna try removing
Before-
the amulet from her.
Freya gets a
Ah,
chance to do
okay.
anything. Zelm and Mel's kind of step forward.
I would like to activate the Storm Rune, please, to see a minute into the future.
Oh.
Oh. I wasn't expecting that. Alright, give me a minute to type something.
Smart boy.
No, Tim, I saved the Storm Rune usage. I only used one during the last fight, specifically for this. 'Cause I had a feeling.
At this moment, too, I'm creating a body double about 5 feet back,
Okay.
5 to
So-
10 feet back. I'm creating an echo.
I believe it shows heavily because I believe my eyes glow quite bright when this is happening. I believe that was
Actually,
said last.
I'm
That's
gonna
fine.
create.
I'll take care
I'm
of it.
gonna
don't
create
worry.
an echo about. I'll create an echo actually about 30 feet back so that I can do something that way.
You know, for some reason I don't
Safety.
trust
How
I'm
How
doing
tall is
Okay.
this room again?
About 20 feet tall for the tower and about 40 feet wide. It's not a very big tower, but it is rather large compared to your average personal castle tower.
Oh,
Okay.
Meaning that if you
Okay.
decide to fly, you're still in fireball
As you all
range.
see, as Kurgan
Fine.
activates a rune on him, suddenly, his eyes begin to glow, and Zelm and Mel's kind of just smile at each other. And Kurgan gets a vision of the future, a minute into the future.
He will narrow his eyes, but he's not going to do anything because it doesn't seem like something he needs to stop.
As Zelm just kind of goes to reach behind his back, smiling, and goes, "This time don't wish for cool invulnerability armor," and pulls out a book. You see as he says this, he kind of eyes Zaya for a second with a wry smile. Only an
Who
old
the
man
fuck
can-
wished for that?
Who wished for what now?
cool
invulnerability
invulnerability armor.
Wait, I remember that. I forget
Yep.
what.
That
I
was
remember
Zaya
something
when
about
you guys
that.
invaded or helping
Yeah,
invade.
it was.
That's what you used your wish on.
And Freya's going, who
I
the
don't
fuck?
remember someone used it for me. I wasn't there that session.
Oh, that's
I
right.
thought.
That might have been
I didn't use that.
It was either
Someone fucked
Itu
me over. Or Tolkien.
Dolkin, yeah, at that time.
They fucked me over. God damn it.
And as Zelm pulls the book open, he looks at you lot and smiles and says, "You have 2 futures currently ahead of you. One has shows," and he holds his hand out. And as you suddenly see a future where everyone is comfortably living. You see Zaya Jr.'s grown up to the age of 16, become very powerful with magic. The Tiefling Kingdom seems to be prospering. You see Kurgan standing there watching over Zaya Jr. in full military garb, according to the Tiefling army, looking to be in the rank of a general of sorts, with multiple medals across his chest, as other members of his family seem to be in the courtyard, laughing, enjoying themselves. You see Cyrus and Zaya standing beside each other, smiling happily as they watch. Anton spending time with them as well, enjoying in very comfortable clothing, looking to be a little bit more magically gifted, a little wiser at this point, but still just as clueless to the situations, I imagine, as always. Jokes aside. You see Freya having been standing as a sentinel over the entire group watching. Gaul laughing and cooking at what looks to be a fire pit, different forms of meat, in the nude, as is tradition, and wearing nothing but his apron, as Tikva continues to yell at him in some way or another. You see the rest of the world seems to be in somewhat prosperity, borders shift and change, but overall, happiness. And then you see as he flips the page, mages of all kinds in chains and shackles, towers broken, cities fallen apart, dragonborn and dragons living in great luxury, but all others being broken under the whip or outright killed. Species that the dragonborn themselves don't care for, either enslaved or slaughtered to the man. A dystopia of death and destruction. And Zelm goes to close his book, and he looks at Anton and Tikva and says, with a sad frown on his face, but yet still stoic, right now, you have two choices. Depending on the decisions you make within the next hour, will define on which of these realities becomes true. Movements for one has already been caused, as you saw, at the death of the man you all knew as the most powerful magical being in this world. With his death and disappearance, so much has now leaned in one direction. Your future
Tell
is
us
with
which.
you. For the next hour, you make these decisions. I will say this. I wish you the best of luck, one way or another. And I offer you this. And he snaps his fingers. And a small little black dragonborn appears. Give me a minute. I'm actually pulling up the character sheets for these characters.
Right, another child to adopt. Glorious.
I got this one. This is my kind, damn it.
You're not mentally stable to have children.
A woman.
I
No
provoke you, right?
A woman.
No one is mentally stable to have children.
Shut up, all. A woman carrying a giant halberd with the Moby, called the Moby. A small humanoid, or human, with his bardic background. Quiet, but yet standing, a very young human black male. A changeling who keeps changing his shape from one to another, wearing a full cloak, carrying a half-broken sword. And a Goliath, a rather large Goliath, who seems to be somewhat bleeding and kind of looking very distraught. You recognize him as one of the guards. You see a red orc that Tikva recognizes immediately from stories from Gaul as Kilxius. A turtle who seems to have shown up with a mariachi band of his own. An elven woman of what looks to be half-elf origins from the aquatic side, carrying her rather large dagger, and seems to be holding electricity in the other hand. And lastly, an Aasimar, who seems to be carrying a strange staff and giving way to the dark arts. And Zelm just looks at Tikva and smiles with a wide grin and goes, "Remember, they always come true, those fortunes." And with that, he snaps his fingers and Zelm and Mel's disappear. And the room goes silent.
What do we do?
Tikva's gonna look all these people over. How do they look like? Their expressions, their demeanor? Do they seem confused as to why they're here? Do they seem like they know what they're doing? Do they seem hostile, neutral to us?
They seem to understand as Aaron walks up to you with her rather large halberd, looks you dead in the eyes, and given this woman towers over you by about a foot, as she's in full plate mail, with her short brown hair and bright green eyes, looks down in your eyes and goes, "Reporting for duty as the fortunes foretold." And
At
stands
ease,
attention. They all go to an at ease stance as they prep for battle.
Alright, there's a lot ahead of us. The High King, they fight with Cyrus's men out there, I'm sure you've seen. Right now, we need to figure out a way to get my cousin, and she gestures, of course, to Zaya, out of this state. Do any of you have any information that would be helpful or imperative to this mission?
The small dragonborn with black scales kind of pipes up, looks up and says, "We're all dead. Most of us are just here because of the fact that we were summoned to complete the future. We don't know. It's up to you to decide what goes next. We're at your disposal." And he sits back down.
What are
picking
your
up his sword.
skills?
Yeah. Which of them, I'm sure a lot of them who are magic users give off strong magical energy. Which of them seems to be the most, like, powerful magic caster of the group?
That would be Kilxius, as he holds the last bastion in his hand. He is a warlock barbarian. I will mention, it is at this point one of you noticed something. Freya, give me a perception check.
I don't know.
Would my natural perception of 23 beat
That
the
would
check
work.
already?
That works. You see a rather
just-
large dragonborn with crystal scales, a massive demeanor, come shoving through most of the army, most of these people. You immediately recognize this. This is Snicknash.
Oh
This
god.
is Snicknash level 20.
No.
He is
I'm gonna
buffed.
calm him down
He's
immediately
not
and have
angry.
him focus on
he
me.
just
He's not
walks
angry.
in,
Oh, great.
pushing people out of the way, and sits down.
Here to help with the fight? And eat some
It
people who
nods.
freaking deserve it? Alright.
You said
Okay.
Kilxius seemed the most powerful of
For
the
magic,
group, magic-wise?
As a warlock.
She'll step up to him. Has she heard from Gaul that he was one of the previous compatriots of Zaya when she first set out on her quest?
Yes, Gall knew that, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's what I said.
Tikva kind of looks at him and gives him sort of a bit of a nod. I've heard of you. You once served at my cousin's side. I'm not sure how your relationship was on that ship to the Orklands that sadly failed, but if she was ever kind to you, I ask if you can help with this amulet around her neck to free her.
He looks at it. You see him cast something. For those who have magic, they recognize this as legend lore on the item. And as he casts this, he looks at you and goes, "The only way that'll be disenchanted is if you kill the High King or take away his magic." And he looks at Anton and goes, "That one's kin has a plan."
Anton, can
Better
you
get us informed on it.
talk to Cyrus? Yes, if we can help his men with these, and of course she gestures to the now small army in the room, we can help him with it.
I'm
Would
gonna take a look
Anton
out
have-
the window and start focusing and trying to read the battlefield.
Okay. Go ahead, Anton.
Would Anton have figured out that through the link that he has up right now that Cyrus may be tapping in, or would he not have picked up on it?
Oh yeah, he would have noticed it immediately. That especially given the amount of magic that man's giving off of.
Okay. Then he would focus through that link to Cyrus to say we have Zaya. The dimensional shackles are off, but there's an amulet that seems to be tied to the High King.
Okay.
Don't forget to mention she's in a wedding dress.
Nope. Yeah, that'll help fire
Yeah,
him
that's
up.
important on the battlefield. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, he would add that. She's also dressed in a wedding dress with the High King symbol on.
Okay. Alright.
Angie Cyrus.
We'll come to that in a
Angie
moment.
Cyrus.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll come to that in a minute. What would you like to do then?
Are any of them clerics or any type of healers?
I don't think Grim. No, he's a ranger. No, that's a wizard, warlock, druid.
Druids can get healing word, man.
Yeah, but he does not have it.
God damn it.
No, you've got no healer in this group.
God damn, we don't have enough time for a short rest either. Ugh. Okay. We need to go downstairs. We need to get the rest of us. Maybe Ronan can heal us some. I'm afraid I'm not the most fit to go into battle, but it seems like we have no choice. And she turns to like the others in the group. Any plans aside from that? If Cyrus doesn't get back
Sorry.
to us, we have to choose to do something.
Freya's been trying to read the battlefield from up here using perception.
Well, as far as you can tell, the High Queen's army is winning, and it's bad. The Tieflings are getting wiped out left and right as they're trying to hold off what's left of Dragon's Gate's troops. Dragon's Gate is at
Immediately,
the worst of it.
Freya's gonna take a stretch and look at Sneknesh and be like, "You feel like killing a few of the High Queen's people real quick?"
You just see as Snicknesh nods and charges out the window. Then, no, you are 12 stories up.
Oh, it's nothing on a barbarian.
That beast is gonna be fine. Hey, make sure to eat them quickly.
It's gone.
might need you for something
You
else.
can't even see him anymore.
It's
He's
gone already.
gone.
I'll give a draconic roar.
All you
for
hear
him.
are the screams.
Yep.
Draconic roar for him.
Okay.
And then looking back at the others, we're gonna try and wipe out the High Queen's forces first. Then we're gonna move on to hopefully having, well, your other ally who's here, because I can see their camp from here, and have him assist
Malthor.
us.
Yes. We should do
If
that,
we can
but
have, we need to carve a path straight through to him, and that's the plan. We are not in
Right.
any position to take any more hits, though. So what's gonna have to happen is the ones around us are gonna have to protect us while we can protect Zaya at closer range. That work for everybody.
The hell not.
can Zaya be moved from her spot, or is her body paralyzed
Are
from
you
the
gonna
amulet?
try and move her?
Freya's gonna go lift her up.
You pick her up off the
yeah.
ground.
All right.
I'll
okay.
carry her. I'm the one probably carrying the least right now.
Yes, Anton?
Yeah.
Hand her to me. You need your sword available, or whatever your weapon is.
Yeah.
I'm holding her over one shoulder with Northrend, and I whisper, "Cut." I say, "Cut" in Draconic, and it turns into a whip. I think I'll be fine.
Very well.
Unless you plan on setting her in an alternate dimension space now.
I do not have that ability currently.
Then let's leave it at this. If it comes down to it and I have to set her down, then I'll pass her to Kurgan.
Pass through me. I'm walking out the door right now to lead the charge.
Yeah.
Aaron kind of
if-
steps
I've
up
been
in front of Kurgan and holds him and
We
stops
let-
him and goes, "Alright,
She's
Commander,
leading.
what's the speech?" As Aaron looks at Tikva.
Speech. Well, I wish this
Move quickly,
fight.
don't die, and get us through this.
Yeah, I wish this fight was as glorious and as great as probably our ancestors had hoped. All I can say is, whatever happens, whoever lives, whoever dies, whatever future beholds us, fuck the gods. And she draws her vorpal rapier.
Alright. They all
I can drink to that.
they all shout in unison, "Fuck the gods," and start charging down the stairs.
Yep. If
We've
I
had
can
the time
get
fornicators, now we got the god fornicators. Let's go.
yeah, if we could get Galcera and Ronan and them to come with
We're
us,
gonna get
I'll
them.
try that. But
As we go
if not,
past the door, I'm looking in there and I'm telling them to get their asses in gear. And I'm looking
Yeah.
at Zarius and telling him, you're
Hey.
following us too.
yeah, if he'll join us, I mean, he better. We did kind of spare him.
As you run down the tower at full speed, who's holding Zaya?
I
Yeah.
am. Freya.
Freya, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh gods. Maybe I should have
Oh,
let
no.
Kurgan do this.
That's funny that you assume.
I think your dex is higher.
You assume that walking tank is supposed to be a good dex.
I have a
No, it's just that it'd be funnier to have him fuck up. How does an 18 do me?
As you all watch, as you're running down the tower, charging with all your might, as with Aeron pretty much leading at this point, she's got the highest movement speed out of the group. Besides Snicknesh, but Snicknesh went out the window. You watch
Yep.
as a large, or something rather large, comes shooting through the tower, right into Freya, and Freya vanishes through a hole, going out the opposite way. As the tower starts to crumble on you guys, as you continue running down. Yes, Tikva?
I was gonna say if the hole is big enough, I would have probably tried to fly after Freya and Zaya, since
Okay.
my wings are still out.
As Tikva flies out the hole, the rest of you can only look on as Aeron just
Go! Is what they're gonna get a shout at them.
Alright. And as Freya shouts this, Tikva flies out. Kurgan?
I'm not fast enough to follow, so I'll look at the others. We've been given a job. Let's go.
Okay. Anton?
Anton will go through the hole as well.
Yeah, I'll lead the troops.
While, let's see, casting fly on himself.
Okay.
Nice.
Alright. As Kurgan leads the troops down and out, Roan and Zarius, as well as the rest, as well as Burr and Galcera.
Don't fuck this up, Kurgan.
Follow in the charge. Tenum's body having vanished completely somewhere.
And we
I
expected
knew
that.
we should have eaten that dead guy.
Eaten. Ugh.
As you guys charge out, you see Cyrus standing there fighting off in combat against the High Queen. The king is nowhere to be seen. To jump back a few minutes, Cyrus, as you continue to hold off both these two, barely managing to fight off two close combat fighters, and now one who is casting Dispel Magic just as easily as he tries to hit you. You watch as suddenly you feel Zaya's magic become more and more open to the world and seen. Cyrus's new look. Yeah, there we go.
Hell yeah!
As you watch feel this, you see the High King kind of look up towards the tower, look at you, Cyrus, and just jumps as hard or as fast or as strongly as he can, and goes flying towards that tower, ignoring you.
Oh no.
Does Cyrus choose to follow, or is he going to continue to try and hold off the High Queen?
So the High Queen is closest right
Yeah,
now.
she's fighting off of him within 12 feet.
Yep. Yeah, how about the High King? Is he within 100 yet?
He was fighting with you, but he basically turned as soon as he felt Zaya's magic suddenly pouring out from the tower, and turned and jumped towards the direction of that tower and leaving a dent in the ground.
Okay, he will go towards Zaya,
Okay.
and at this point attempting to activate the rings.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
What's that mean?
It's going to take you a while to get these to start to fully kick off. Now, so
That's
you're
fine.
reaching into your bag to grab these?
He probably would have had them on kind of as he got closer
Okay.
to be ready to activate.
So for canon purposes, we're going to say that right as the High King landed, that would be when Cyrus started pulling out the rings.
Okay.
As you went to go pull out the rings, then we're going to step back for a second. Reaching into your bag of holding. there's only one ring.
Okay. Which one, the king or the queen?
There's only one ring. You didn't have them specifically to either god at this point. It could go off on either of
okay.
them.
The king.
Okay. So, as you go charging after him, casting Levitate on yourself, or Fly on yourself, sorry, I assume.
Yep. Yeah.
You watch as the High King goes through this tower, slamming into it full force with this giant marble tower, grabbing a hold of what looks to be a almost blue-like dragonborn, from what you can see, given the flash of the movement speed. As wings sprout out of the High King, and you see two other figures go charging out. One you recognizing as Anton, and the other you noticing Tikva charging after them. You are in the race to catch them, and we will come back to you in a moment.
Oh,
As Kurgan, as you come charging out with a small platoon of troops here,
Gonna put his military training to use.
the High
All the
Queen
men.
just turns and glares at you, furious about what's going on, and the smells as she sniffs the air. Yes, go ahead.
Before she does anything,
Uh-huh.
that guy I saw, that was the king, right?
Yeah, that was the High King. The
Oh, I
man
know.
in the suit. Yeah.
Before she does anything, I'll say, I know you're angry at everyone, but I also know you really hate the High King. And he's here. And he's leaving. You could fight us, or you could go after the one you hate 100 times more. And we won't stop you. That's all.
She just kind of looks at you, looks up, and takes her, kind of holding her hammer in her hand, chucks it straight at Kurgan
Oh boy.
as hard as she can. Does a 25 hit your AC?
Yes, it does.
she's salty.
You take
boy.
21 points of bludgeoning damage. It is magical. As it slams into you, knocking you on your back. You are knocked prone, but she doesn't continue the fight as she suddenly sprouts wings and takes off.
Everyone got
I
wings.
guess
She
I'll
was-
get up and I'll look at the others. Well, that went better than I thought it would at least. Come on, let's get a move on.
As Kurgan goes charging off into the
Yeah, that barely hurt
battlefield,
He barely felt that. So he's just
Send
gonna
out
move
the
on.
forces.
Kurgan, alongside with his new little troops, begins to push the tide of battle. Kurgan, I want you to give me an intelligence check for your ability as a general. See how you do.
I have an 11 intelligence.
Oh my god. Why are you doing all these rolls for stuff you're bad at, man?
I rolled a 12.
Okay.
That's not bad.
As you charge out, you didn't
Just
get
above
a
average.
very clear view of the battlefield, but you do know what people are your enemies and which ones aren't. Charging forward into the fight, you see as a young elven woman seems to be holding off full platoons of soldiers heading in that general direction down the main street. You begin to spread out, taking control of the army and commanding it to where to go where you can. Kurgan, we'll come back to you later. Freya, you find yourself in the hands of the High King as he is gripping onto you. And just as suddenly as he grabs you, you feel a strange kind of jerk in his body, and then suddenly he feels warmer. And you hear his voice as the cigar drops out of his mouth. Go, oh, Zilpip is dead. Imagine what I'll do to you next if you don't drop my bride.
I'm just gonna smile, and Freya's going to try something.
Okay.
Oh god.
Oh, I'm gonna regret it if this doesn't work. I'm going to bite onto his hand, and I'm going to try to absorb all the magic I can, pulling it out of him with every ounce of willpower I have.
Oh, this can only go well.
Oh, this could only go out.
You know what? I'll tell you what.
I was nearby.
Give me a dexterity check. He'll do a
Okay.
saving throw. The High King. very well
21.
known. Okay. He got an 8, so don't worry. The High King is very well known for his dexterity. So as you manage
Yes.
to bite down, go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw.
These I'm amazing at.
Yeah, I mean, you bit the guy with infinite magic.
29. 2 19s in a row.
As you begin doing all you can to absorb all the magic out of him, it begins at first to become very easy, and you feel him kind of grunt, or you hear him grunt, and him as you bite down hard onto his shoulder, you hear the comment of, "This is a new suit, you shit." And as you start pulling more and more magic, you feel your body becoming very stronger and stronger, and then it starts to be. You hear him. You can feel a sudden change in his presence as his muscles react, and he goes, "Okay, let's play." And suddenly the magic starts flowing into your body at tenfold the speed and even more potent.
I'm gonna hold on and I'm going to.
Freya, give
Shift
me
it off.
a death saving throw.
This is gonna kill her, but you know what? This is gonna be worth it if I can
Yeah,
take him
you're
down.
trying to hook infinite magic
10.
so-
So that's a pass.
As you manage
Right.
to continue sucking magic out of this man, it is causing your limbs to go numb. The rest of your body has gone numb, but you are holding
It-
on for dear life. Yes, Tikva.
Can I use another action since I'm not technically moving to try and throw Zaya and hold him?
Yeah, if I'm within the area, I can see this. I would like to assist.
Throwing her as hard as I can
You
with this
can-
newfound strength.
See Freya biting down on the High King, and you can see her body has gone almost completely limp as the High King continues to charge forward at an even higher speed, at this point, Freya, you have no feeling in your body, but I'll tell you what, I will let you do an athletics roll with advantage to see if you can manage to beat the High King's strength.
Oh, God.
Alright, here we go. I can
Right.
roll plus 11 in this for a reason. That is a nat 20. I'm not doing better than that. That's a 31 total.
He rolled
Oh
a
my
1. Oh, that's a
It
19.
really is the bad luck you're talking about.
That was a 19 in total. As you manage somehow wrapping your arms around him and holding on, letting go of Zaya as Zaya almost, in a sense, starts to float away at the speed you're going, you grapple a hold of the High King and he starts to fall, going straight down into the very thick osmium walls of the city of Dragon's Gate. You, Freya, do perish as you slam into a wall with the High King at such high rates of speed that you take almost 600 points of damage. I'm not going to give the actual number because the roll was really high. But you take over 600 points as you are obliterated, landing on the ground. The High
Little thought
King
for Freya.
takes
Take
300
that, you
points of
fucker.
damage. Fucking God.
Final thought for Freya is take that fucker.
As Freya
You're not
vanishes,
invincible.
nothing left of her. The High
Except
King,
for Northrend sitting there.
Northrend's dropped off. Northrend fell out of your hand when you lost all feeling. Freya has made the ultimate sacrifice. As you watch from a distance, as she continues to as the High King just goes dropping into the ground, slamming into house after house, and smashing through this osmium thick wall, you see Tikva, Anton, and Cyrus. I want you all to give me dexterity saving throws to see if you can catch Zaya.
Will do. You got this. Where is the... Oh boy.
And Anton
Well-
can potentially cast Featherfall.
Okay. 19.
Yeah, I got
on-
an 8.
on all of it.
Okay.
Zaya, because she's the only one not controlled flight
Oh,
right now.
Would you
yeah.
like to cast Featherfall on the High King?
No.
No? Okay.
I
Have to
mean, that
ask.
would
Someone
save a
turned out
certain
to
somebody, but
betray
it's far too late.
Yeah. Okay. So Anton is 19. Tikva?
I got an 8.
Okay, and then Cyrus.
We go with Cyrus.
Oh, Cyrus.
As-
What I did?
3.
Yeah. As Zaya goes flying past, Tikva not being able to react fast enough, as watching this spectacle as she watches one of her few friends evaporate into dust as the High King goes falling to the ground. She misses Zaya. Cyrus being too far back and not being able to catch up quick enough, Anton manages to catch Zaya in his hands as she seems to land in his hands, and the amulet seems to almost, you hear as it kind of starts to crack, but seems to not break off her neck as she's still left unable to move. But Anton has her.
If he sees it start to crack as soon as he's stable in the air with her, he will attempt to dispel magic on the amulet.
Okay, give me a dispel. At what level?
It will be a level 4.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
Come on.
You got this.
I can't see what it says.
20. As the necklace snaps to the ground, Zaya can speak.
Freya didn't sacrifice herself in vain.
And
I
you
think-
feel as suddenly an aura of not magic, not divine ability, pure and utter strength and anger suddenly is coming from that wall where you last saw the High King fall. Everyone in the entirety of the city, minus Anton and Cyrus currently, are frightened from this.
Except for paladins.
Yeah, that's true. Who are immune, that's fair. There is no save for this. The roll, I don't think anybody can roll high enough for this anyway, so with a DC of
No.
45,
Nope.
Normac's
I-
gonna start running towards that wave. Malthor's probably gonna
Yeah.
start moving towards that wave of anger.
I think Zaya, she takes a big breath of air, finally free, finally conscious. She looks around, grips Anton's arms, and the first thing she says is, "Don't just stand there, run or something!" and looks fearfully towards the wall.
He would, if she says that, he will cast Dimension Door and go 500 feet away in the direction of Cyrus.
okay.
But
Oh.
like, shooting past Cyrus.
Yeah. Alright, as you guys fall back,
It was just there.
you see as suddenly the High Queen is standing next to Anton, looking at him and Zaya, and she just kind of stops for a second, completely utter pause, looks Anton up and down and goes, "Don't let her fall into his hands." And she turns and heads back down the battlefield, heading towards
I'm pretty-
Kurgan.
So
Pretty
taking
sure I scared her.
Zaya with 500 feet, kind of basically, like draw a line through where Cyrus is,
Yeah.
500 feet.
Okay. Alright. And does Cyrus still continue to head towards the High King?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Alright, we're gonna come back to the... Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, attempting to skirt the distance that he needs
Okay.
for the ring
Okay.
to work.
Alright.
Well, he has it activated.
Alright. We'll come back to you in a moment. Yes, at this point it is fully activated. It just takes the command word to cue the spell.
Okay.
We'll come back to you in a moment. Kurgan,
Hey,
Yes.
buddy.
it has been about a half an hour. You've been fighting through battle after battle, holding your own. Given you're a man of extreme talent, even amongst your own clan, your unit
Thank
has
you.
managed to hold the line. Even watching as Snicknesh was off pilfering through houses, and it's pretty easy to track him as you see Snicknesh-sized holes in most of the buildings. He's not really deferring
Right,
from
man.
enemy to ally. He's eating anybody that just steps to him.
I'm not getting his goddamn way, seeing what he's doing. God damn it.
Yeah, he seems to be heading
I'll be
out
fine.
of the city at this point. The assumption is eventually he's going to leave. Or disappear. One of the two. As you finally make it to the edge of this circle of dead soldiers of all types. You see an elven woman just standing there, crying over what looks to be a fallen dwarf in stone armor. You recognize this blonde elven woman from earlier, as Tikva called her Alluvia, the bar owner. The one who you remember also Tikva mentioning was a lich. And
He's a kid about that.
she just looks to Kurgan and starts preparing a spell. Waiting
What
to
are you
see
doing?
his actions. She goes, "Are you here to pilfer my bar too? Kill my husband?"
I'm here to repel the invaders. We'll honor him, I promise. Here, how heavy is he? Can I lift him? Can I try?
His armor what causes him to weigh about 400 pounds. It's
And we
literally armor made of solid stone.
You have no chance. Even if
No,
Freya
I'm
was
gonna-
there, you would have no
Well,
chance.
actually, no, I actually totally can if I went giant, but
Is it worth it to you?
no, it is. I have a lot of charges, but if she doesn't want to help me remove the armor, then I'll carry him like that. God damn it!
Okay.
Here, help me get his armor off so we can move him. We'll get him a burial after all this is over.
She nods and points into the bar to take him, and she goes, "You're a good man, and for that I'm gonna give you something." And she pulls out. She starts reaching into one of her pockets in her dress. Yes, her dress has pockets.
Hmm.
Amazing.
I
Wasn't gonna
wish.
question it. That's
And
fine.
she pulls out a little strange piece of stone with 3 buttons on it. One with a blue gem in it, one with a red, and one with a green. And a little piece of iron sticking out of it. And she says, "In exchange for for doing this, because I couldn't move him myself, he was too heavy, I'm giving you command of the Iron Golem defenses that I've taken control of here. They belong to an old lich named Welfin, who's no longer gonna need them."
I'll nod as I become a size larger to move the guy.
As you pick him up, you recognize, yeah, he is a mountain dwarf, and you recognize him immediately. He is one of the members of the Helmshaper clan. This is the secondary house to the king. Basically, they are the a cadet branch of the king of stone, the family of the House of Stone, who used to be the king.
Wait
of
a
the
minute.
Dwarvenlands.
Wait a minute.
Mhm.
Helm Shaper?
Yes.
Helm Shaper.
Yeah.
The key.
Yep.
I'm pulling out the key and seeing if Alluvia knows what it is. Because I have this fucking key and no one knows what it does.
Okay. As you pull out this key, she looks at you and goes, "That's the key to the Helmshaper Armory. That's where the ancient dwarven armory that repelled and took control, basically secured the House Stone's win so long ago. It's in the main mountain in Stonehold. There's a pathway there between the capital of Stonehold and the outer lands of the kingdom that if you put this key in one of the rocks that's in there, it will activate and open up the armory."
I'll keep that in mind, nod, and just as I move the guy, I was wondering why Ogun gave me this.
Wait,
And
Ogun,
yeah, what about him?
are you part of the Zarius clan?
I'm related, yes.
She just kind of starts to laugh. You're a cadet branch of the Helmshapers. Your family is well known. You're related to Tenem, right?
Yeah, we were just fighting him earlier.
He's the only
So he
heir
came-
left to the entirety of the Mountain Dwarven Kingdom. That means you're next in line, probably. Congrats. As she smiled, and you see as a dwarf comes charging at her, and she just snaps her fingers, and he immediately gets electrocuted and drops.
Yeah, that's what I expected.
And she goes, "Huh?
Well,
Good luck."
I'll deal with all the leadership crap later. Let's move him, and then I have to get back to the troops.
As you enter into the tavern, you immediately recognize that there's a spell up that seems to be causing this entire area to be an illusionary room. Only those that are allowed are able to enter this bar currently. And you see a bunch of other dwarven citizens of the city who are just hiding behind the bar. And one
Howard.
red-headed dwarf with a long braided mustache and with 2 little golden baubles at the end is sitting there just drinking. Just in full armor, ready to go, just not even bothering.
Greg.
No, he's got a
Is
full
it
head of
big?
hair.
Do I recognize the guy at all? He's just some
No.
dude in armor.
He's just a dwarf in armor.
If he doesn't want to join the fight, I guess whatever.
Yeah.
I'll leave him.
All right.
I'll set him down wherever Luvia wants.
She doesn't. She's still out there holding off troops, and as soon as you have actually entered, you hear a loud explosion outside as you see a woman you thought you'd gotten rid of, who seems to be more clingy than any you've ever met, Kurgan. As the High Queen suddenly is standing in front of Alluvia, and the two have begun fighting.
Alright, well, put him down. Okay, here we go. Here we fucking go.
Okay.
Is this within Malthor's line of sight at this
Normac
point?
and Malthor are heading in that direction. Yes.
Malthor's gonna try and charge faster because he
No.
has that movement.
Okay.
Now I'm confused, because she knows where the king is now, because everyone felt that fucking wave.
Maybe even she's scared.
Alright, well, I'll put him down and go back outside.
Okay. As you exit, you see her barely holding off the High Queen's hammer blows with just using a small dagger that she's using, as the two seem to be trading hit for hit.
I don't think diplomacy's gonna help here, but I gotta try, because not anything is better than fighting her. Oh god.
You can tell she is holding back just based on your general experience as a warrior.
She doesn't want to
Okay.
kill her.
Well, that's good.
And
Well,
the-
first, I'm gonna activate the fucking defenses.
Oh, as in? Oh, you're gonna click the
golem.
button? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna click the button.
As you do, you hear the ground start to shake a little bit and lurch, and as Malthor and Normac are heading down the main street, behind them you see iron golems just suddenly coming out of a hole that appears in the middle of the road.
Malthor's gonna look back and be like, "That works!" Hopefully they don't attack our people.
And they are walking towards Kurgan.
I'm gonna raise my axe,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna lower it slightly towards the queen. We just talked about this earlier. Please, my queen, I ask you not to do this.
She looks at
In a very defensive stance to show that I'm not trying to attack her.
She looks at you with and with anger in her eyes goes, "No kin to the High King shall stand," and charges at you. We're gonna come back to your fight in a minute.
Oh boy. I knew being a Zarius would bite me in the ass.
Yes, it will. Okay. Alright. Cyrus. We're gonna jump over to you. I assume Tikva at this point. Well, actually, first, Tikva.
Yeah, I'm still there, man. No one retreated me out.
What are you doing? What are you doing at this point?
I feel like having seen, I assume she saw Freya obviously fall bravely, but I assume she'd have looked back to check on Zaya and have seen the stuff go down with Anton.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as she feels that fear from the High King and sensed that Anton, or saw maybe, I don't know how far she'd be able to see back, that he was leaving, but also that Cyrus was coming up, I feel she'd have backed off some, but wouldn't have fully retreated. I feel like she's preparing to aid Cyrus as she can with this, and is just going to prepare a spell for if the High King does turn around and charge at her.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna following Cyrus as he continues to get closer and closer. We're gonna take a second as I'm prepping something real quick.
My death.
Yes, naturally.
I might die, but I'll die distracting the queen, goddammit.
Exactly.
We're all gonna die.
Cyrus,
Rage
you
death.
said you're trying to avoid getting closer to the High King while still staying in the range, correct?
Yes, and if the ring is activated and I see that Tikva is still there, I would start to head towards Tikva and.
Yeah, I am backing up towards you, so she's like
Alright.
doing like I'll meet you halfway type thing,
As
but
the
she's
two
not
of
like
you
running.
come closer, flying closer to each other, you hear an explosion as the High King comes jumping up straight towards you at an extreme speed. And his wings sprout as he comes up. Immediately, black wings sprout from his back, torn and shredded, the tips on blazing in fire as his body kind of transforms to this blackened demon with a longer beard that seems to almost each long chain of it seems to incorporate different forms of damage and magic. As his hair disappears into a fiery ball and two large horns curve out from his head, and he is screaming incomprehensibly as he charges towards you lot.
Okay.
And as he gets within 100 feet, Cyrus, you have a reaction. Do you use it, or are you going to fight this man?
He will, once he is within range, he will speak the command word. And due to Cyrus casting Foresight each day, any attack will have disadvantage on Cyrus in case there is an attack.
There will
But he is attempting to flee and trying to help Tikva get out, but
Okay.
command word right now is the most important thing.
So what is the command word as you speak it? You're the one who made this ring.
I hadn't thought about it. Let's see.
Make it cool. Make it cool, Troy. One-liner.
What do I want it to be? Ignesis.
Okay. As
Pull
you
from Harry
shout,
Potter, sort of.
It works. As you shout this out loud, the ring suddenly just disappears in a slow grain as the thing dissipates and disintegrates in your hand, and nothing happens as the High King continues to come charging forward. And for a moment, as you panic, suddenly a bright light begins to shine off of you. A strange blue light, as the light dissipates, seems to stop the entirety of the city. Even as Kurgan and the High Queen, as well as his golems and Normek, as well as Malthor, begin holding off this barrage from the High Queen's blows, all suddenly freeze. The entire city goes deadly quiet as they look up. Just as suddenly, a figure appears from that light as the light changes to a blue shade of light, illuminating so bright that so many have to look away. But a blue man, human in looking, suddenly appears in front of you with a strange blue dot with another circle around it on his forehead, and everything seems to stop. There stands Thief himself. The High King screams in terror as this man appears between the two of you. As the spell is active, Thief turns to you and goes, "You've summoned me this day. You know what this magic means.
I do.
Who do you choose?"
Myself.
"As it shall be." And he claps his hands, and suddenly a violent blue light explodes outwards, blowing even Tikva away out of the air. Anybody flying immediately gets splattered into the ground, taking 20 points of damage as they slam into the brick. Even those on the ground feeling the extreme gravity shoving them to the floor. And just as soon as this cataclysm explodes out, you hear an utter scream of pain as the High King disintegrates and turns back into a normal dwarf falling to the ground, wearing nothing but commoner's clothing, if anything more looking like peasant's clothing, a giant gash in his shoulder with blood flowing out of it and violent streams. Cyrus, you find yourself suddenly sitting at the throne. A table in front of you. Gods of all the pantheons sitting at the sides. Each of their leaders looking to you for your word, waiting for your decision.
The war in the mortal realm is over. We will leave them alone for now.
They all nod. And just as those words are ushered, the entirety of this battle just stops. The mortals turn and begin walking back to their homelands without even a word. Those who are unaffected by this command are those above level 15.
Hey.
So meaning basically the entirety of the party. Kurgan, from your view, you just see as suddenly as the High Queen just kind of looks at you as this explosion goes off and then disappears in front of you, along with Normac, who also seems to vanish. And the entirety of these armies just go back and start to rebuild their cities.
Well,
Zaya.
Kurgan's gonna activate the golems,
Okay.
first of all.
Oh,
Zaya
what about Zaya?
is with Anton and safe, but Cyrus, do you wish to? You have a choice as your second usher. Do you choose to raise her to godhood, fully completed?
I do.
Okay.
If she accepts, I will give her the choice.
As things begin to suddenly just go silent and people just stop fighting altogether, turning around, bandaging themselves up, working together to help each other out as the battle has ended. You see suddenly Zaya as you're being held by Anton off in the distance, still not being in almost complete shock of the situation. You now find yourself standing beside the table with all these gods, beings of power that you couldn't even imagine, some that you've never even seen. And there sits Cyrus at the head of the table with a simple, right in front of him, the cup from the High King's personal coffee mug and his cigar laying on the table, gone cold. And Cyrus sitting there in his arcane robes.
I wish Frey would have been there.
Give it a minute, I'm not done yet.
Yep. Keep going.
Go ahead, Zaya.
Oh, does Cyrus say or do anything when Zaya appears, or does he just
I will
sit there
say,
in silence?
Zaya is still in her robes, but the High King's mark has vanished. It's just a normal wedding gown.
Hello again, Zaya.
Oh, shut up. And she wraps her arms around him and kisses him.
And just as soon
She
as she
kisses,
does that,
kisses back.
okay, Zaya gains the godhood. A godhood that has never existed in this world. She becomes the god of peace.
Damn. Damn. Damn, I didn't expect that.
And the
Yeah, we
world
changed the
goes
world for the
quiet.
better.
You see as Freya regenerates, gaining her life back, gaining her full life back. Not even undead anymore, now considered fully alive. Those troops who are dead are buried as quickly as possible. Freya finds herself sitting inside of a wall, basically. A crater in the wall. Tikva,
First thing doing, summoning back the sword.
the sword of reappears and goes, God damn it, you always do this to me. And
I had to show the bastard he wasn't the winner.
Tikva, you find yourself having landed almost right next to Kurgan as you were slammed in the
Yep.
ground. Kurgan standing there holding this, enlarged and holding this golem rod as the golems have paused. And Zarya is still standing kind of standing off to the side, Illuvia as well. And you see, as you stand up, a dwarven man with a long red beard, torn to hell, in peasant's clothing, all patchy, and with a massive bite taken out of his shoulder, walking towards you with a small sword.
Oh, you're approaching
Malthor's-
me.
Malthor is jumping in front of her at this
Oh,
point.
I kind of want to pick the guy up because I'm so large right now. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, Kurgan, I'll give you the first movement if you want it, as Tikva's monologuing.
Yeah, I kind of just want to pick him up.
Monologue.
Alright, as you do, he stabs you and you take 4 points of damage.
Ow. It's like a toothpick. It's rude. So there,
You're in.
well, I'm going to greet my grandpapa.
I gotta hear this greeting.
Yeah, what do you say to him as
Yep.
you pick up this dwarven man?
I'm going to bear hug him. More just not to let him move. Grandpapa, it's so great to see you.
A little You notice he's completely mute. At this point, as you've gotten closer, you notice his tongue's gone.
Aw. Well, that's no fun.
But you can see
But
he's still
of course-
trying. He's still stabbing you.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this sword and I'm gonna force him to kneel in front of Tikva.
Oh.
In front of anyone near me, really. Just
All right,
let him kneel
go,
in
go
front
ahead and give me a
Alright,
strength check just to see if you can hold him down. I mean, it's not gonna be hard, but you know.
Yeah. Well, low roll, but good news since I'm enlarged, I could try again.
That's fair.
That's a nat 20. That's a lot better.
Yeah, well, that's a 4 for him, as he only has a +1 now. So,
I would've-
alright.
Anyway.
As you kind of shove him down onto one knee in front of Tikva. Malthor standing beside you now.
I'm holding my axe in the other hand, and I'm gonna look at Tikva. Well, what's your call?
You're the queen.
Tikva,
Normax's sword on the other
wings.
side of his head.
the wings on her back flicker with that divine radiant light and vanish. Her sword, the vorpal rapier in her hands, she sheaths and she smiles down at the now no longer High King, now just the simple dwarven peasant, and she grins and says, "Well, that went better than expected. As the history books will say," and she leans down with sharp grin only a tiefling could give. "Fuck the gods." And she looks to Kurgan.
At the same time, when Kurgan moves to kill him, they're gonna fully behead him. Malthor's gonna help fully behead this guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't slash fire you. My weapon's a lot larger.
I brought it back!
Okay. As the weapons descend on the man, the head rolls to the ground, and the body falls lifeless. Ushering in
We're not burying this one.
a new age. The first age of peace, as the canonical note will be. And thank you all for watching Rejected Potential. We will see you guys next time, and we'll be doing a quick intermission while the DM gets ready for the epilogue.